Okay, screen okay? Awesome. Alrighty, hi everyone and welcome. I know we have a few people that are still arriving, so we're going to get started here in just a few minutes. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful hot day. It was nice though having that little bit of a cool breeze a few days ago. That was super enjoyable. So while everybody's coming in, thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar. If you've been to an SBDC webinar, welcome back. If this is your first time, what we're going to do is I'll do a little intro here for our facilitators today, as well as a little bit about the SBDC, and then they'll just take it from there. If you have any questions as you go along, a lot of times they do answer those questions if you wait, but if you can't, you're more than welcome to just put any kind of questions that you have in the chat, and I'll be sure to field those and get those to Kim and Deanna as they are discussing all of their items, because it's a wealth of information. This is being recorded and will be sent to all of those in attendance, and we do keep it on file in case you want to refer back to it or if you have any questions along the way. So before we get started, I'd love to tell you a little bit about Pikes Peak Small Business Development Center. Our center, along with 1,000 other SBDC centers nationwide, offers free consulting, practical training, and business resources to our small businesses with help from the Small Business Administration. Our local corporate sponsors include El Paso County, Int Business Banking, the City of Colorado Springs, Park State Bank and Trust, Vector Bank, and the City of Colorado Springs, as well as the Small Business Administration and the Colorado Springs Utilities. The exciting news is that the Pikes Peak SBDC is the Region 8 SBA Innovation and Excellence winner for 2020, placing our office in the top 10 in the nation. Like I mentioned, after this webinar, if you're interested in meeting one-on-one with an SBDC consultant or attending additional workshops or webinars, you're more than welcome to head to pikespeaksbdc.org to get started. And if you have any questions about these slides, they will be sent over to you as well. Oops. I'd like to introduce to you our facilitators today. Kim Cullen is the Director of Marketing of MDF Commerce, e-procurement, including Bidnet Direct, Merck's vendor registry platforms. She hosts multiple webinars and in-person sessions in partnership with government procurement entities throughout the country, focus on how to best utilize bidding platforms and tips for suppliers to win more government business. We also have Deanna Stark, and she's a contract specialist for the City of Colorado Springs. She's a member of the vendor diversity outreach team for the city and engages local, small, and disadvantaged business enterprises to increase their understanding of best practices and create educational opportunities for local partners and promote diversification of the city's vendor pool. So thanks to you both for being here today. I'll have you both just kind of take it away from here. And again, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to put them in the chat.
Okay, great. So hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. Again, my name is Deanna Stark, and I'm a contract specialist with the City of Colorado Springs. And next slide, please. So welcome to the first webinar in our series, Doing Business with the City. We'll be doing a lunch and learn once a month from now through September. The goal of our series is to equip you with the tools and knowledge you need to compete for projects. And that includes registration that we're going over today, proposal documentation that we'll be going over in July, understanding the evaluation process, and a run through of upcoming projects. Next slide. So for today, I'll be kicking off our session with an overview of who we are and how vendors can find opportunities with the city, what resources are available on our city website, and then handing it over to Kim Cullen for that deeper dive into how you can register and be notified of projects. And next slide. The City of Colorado Springs Contract Office is a team of 6 people, and we handle solicitations for all of the city departments. That ranges from CSPD to fire, parks and recreation, public works, as well as enterprises such as the airport. Services we typically solicit for range from road, trail, and bridge construction to flooring installation, building construction and repairs, landscaping, professional and design services. Next slide. Here we have a listing of our procurement thresholds. Projects under $15,000 are non-compete, meaning department managers may reach out to a vendor directly for services. Projects that fall in that 15,000 to 150,000 category are considered informal solicitations, and those are facilitated through our office. As an informal solicitation, these projects may or may not be listed on Bidnet e-purchasing site, or the contract specialist may elect to reach out to a vendor directly for quotes. Formal solicitations, that's those that are found in that $150,000 and more category. Anything in that category will be solicited online through Bidnet. Next slide. We utilize Bidnet as our e-purchasing platform, and projects that are competitively solicited on that platform will have all of that solicitation information, meaning it will include the specification details, addendums, drawings, and so forth. Also available to you is the city's website, and that includes information on any active solicitation. If we'll go to the next slide, and Mackenzie, if you'll click on that coloradosprings.gov link. So by visiting the city's homepage and then going to the link that's going to pop up here in a second. Perfect. So if you'll click on business in the top there. And then scroll to view open bids off to the left. And then scroll down a bit, please. Thank you. So visiting this website provides you with a short list of all of our open solicitations. And that's anything ranging from 150,000 to under. Also on this page is other information around contract award, notices of final settlement, and you can find that information by scrolling up on the page, and you'll see it off to the left there under procurement services. Thank you. And if we'll go back to the PowerPoint, please. Thank you. And in next slide. In the next slide. All right, so if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact us directly at contracting@coloradosprings.gov. And any information around the specific procurement specialist for that project can be found on Bidnet in that solicitation detail. That said, we're going to turn it over to Kim to talk more and really dive deeper into that Bidnet platform because all of our solicitations are housed there. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And I am going to, can everybody see my screen here, hopefully? All right, perfect. So yeah, I'm going to do, as Deanna said, a little bit more of a deep dive. So as you saw on the City of Colorado Springs website, there was also a link to Rocky Mountain e-purchasing system. And that is this link that's right here. We'll also be sharing this with you. I will try to at the end of this presentation, as well as via email as well. I believe that we're going to be sending this out. So this is where all of the city's solicitations are also listed on the Bidnet Direct platform. So I mentioned Rocky Mountain e-purchasing. So Bidnet Direct is the larger platform. We have over 1,500 local and state governments that do business and get all their solicitations directly through Bidnet Direct. And we have those kind of separated into what we call purchasing groups by location. So the Rocky Mountain Purchasing Group is the Colorado and Wyoming group. It has both states included, but when you register, you're not only getting access to the City of Colorado Springs open solicitations, but you're also getting access to over 300 other participating agencies within Colorado and Wyoming's open solicitations and closed solicitations as well. And you have an option to also get even access to more than that, about 550, I believe, other statewide agencies that are not utilizing the system. So these are just a few that you may be interested in. So I just want to let you know that when you register, it's you will have access to Colorado Springs, but you'll also have access to other local agencies, whether you do business with them or you're just trying to do research and see what's out there for you to expand to. Registration on the site, I'm going to take you through this pretty quickly because I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, but there are 3 different options. I will be very clear, it is 100% free to register. You can register and you can have access to any open solicitations by our participating agencies, including the City of Colorado Springs. You will be able to download documents. You will be able to ask questions if the buyer is accepting questions online. You will be able to respond to that solicitation if it is responses are available online, or if they're available offline, obviously you'll be able to respond as well that way. So you'll be able to take any action on a solicitation that you can for free. What these other options give you, and that's why they are optional, is $108 for the year, which is $9 a month. That gives you an alert to any matching solicitations by Colorado Springs or any of our other 300 plus participating agencies. With the free option, you do need to log in and look for these on your own. So we request that people who are not paying for those notifications, that they log on in a regular basis so they don't miss out on any business opportunities. And then this $33 a month is that statewide. That is another option that you can add on to not only have access and get notified of our participating 300 plus, but all of those state and local government agencies within Colorado and Wyoming. In addition, upon registration, if you do, let's say your business, you don't just work with the city, you don't just work within the state, but you sell nationwide. You can actually add more groups as well for different states for any of these options. Upon the registration, if you did sign up for something, a payment, then you'll put in your credit card information. If you did not, then it will show that you've registered to the Rocky Mountain Purchasing Group, you owe $0. And either way, it will send you an email to complete your registration. You come back, you have typed in your username and password at this point, and I think I accidentally, I apologize, deleted an extra slide in the pre that did not show that first step of registration. So I'll go back when we're online, if I remember, to show you, but it's very standard information. It's your name, your company name, your phone number, your email address. Things like that is what's needed. In that, your username is usually your email address, unless you choose to change it, and then you set up your own password. Once you've clicked this email to confirm, then you're taken to a very important piece, which is your NIGP category codes. So this is a part of registration that you are going to need to know, kind of what products or services that you sell. And this is how, both if you choose to be alerted of matching solicitations, that you will get those alerts, and or if any of our buying organizations like the city are looking to have more vendors be notified of solicitations, they can select you. Or some of our agencies, and I'm not sure if Colorado Springs does this or not, but some of them also use these NIGP codes when they're looking for information for an RFI, or one of those informal quotes where they just need to pick up the phone and call 3 vendors and get a quote from them. They'll use the vendor database by NIGP code and location for that information. So these codes are very important. You don't have to know the 5-digit code. We have right here, you can type in your keywords, and you can always change these as well. I'm going to show you as part of your supplier profile online how to change these once you're already registered. And then this is another important piece of information is your business structure and business type. So this is where you're going to put in, are you a private or public corporation? Is there any kind of small business? Are you women owned or veteran owned or a hub zone? So are you minority owner ethnicity of Hispanic or African American? And then there are some specific questions here to the Rocky Mountain e-purchasing system, which is your company an SBE certified by the City and County of Denver? And do you have any other certifications? So this is minority, women, or disadvantaged business enterprise certification. And then what are those certification names? So if by chance you registered for, let's say, the Rocky Mountain e-purchasing system and also California, there may be another specific to California question that pops up after these or before these. I guess I think it does go in alphabetical order, but they're pretty simple questions. If you don't know them, you can go back, but they are required. So you have to press something. So if you do not know at this point in time, just press no, and then you can come back and check with your boss or whomever you need to check with and fill in that information at a later date when you have it. All right, and then that's it. Now you can start looking for solicitations. So your activation is confirmed. This goes into a tiny bit more details here on the NIGP codes, which we're going to get into. I'll show you online about that. But this just kind of re-goes over what I just said about the updating your the codes from the beginning. And I just want to emphasize how important this is, because this is how all of the local government and state governments that are utilizing Bidnet Direct, how they are getting suppliers to match their solicitations that they're issuing. So on their end, they're also doing this search or entering this code itself on the solicitation. And I'm going to show you that when we get online so that you can know if you're missing solicitations like, geez, this is a perfect solicitation for my business. Why aren't I getting this? I'm going to show you where you can go and see, how you can make certain you're notified of that moving forward in the future. All right, so now I am going to hop online and hopefully this will work seamlessly and you all will. All right, so now I'm on this website here, which is the link I shared to you before, and I will send it through the chat when we're in the Q&A period. But this is Colorado Springs specific page. So you can see it's part of the Rocky Mountain e-purchasing system. And you can scroll down here and you can see all of the open solicitations. If I wanted to, I could also pop over to the closed solicitations here or the awarded solicitations. So here's all the closed solicitations. So this goes back. I can click on any of these. However, if you're not registered, you're not going to be able to see a ton of information on the open ones. On the closed ones, you will. And that's really for tracking purposes, right? So anytime you download documents, anytime you are alert of a solicitation, the buying organization, so Colorado Springs and the buyers of Colorado Springs know that information. So they know that there's been 7 different suppliers who have downloaded this document, the documents attached to this solicitation. And they use that information for lots of different things. However, it all needs to be tracked and audited. And so that's why you have to be a registered vendor to be able to take any action on a solicitation. This is where this big button right here, register now, you would click on that and go directly to that page that I was talking about before, that I accidentally deleted before this, but this is just all of that blank information, the organization name, very standard registration stuff that you have there. That's the first page that unfortunately was missing, so I apologize. But I am already registered, so I'm going to now log in. Login is right up here. And Give me 1 second to type in here. Now, depending on your registration type, this screen may look a little bit different. So I'm not going to focus a ton on all of the differences with the optional paid. What I really want to show you is a solicitation itself. So no matter what, if you log in and have to find these solicitations on your own, or if you're notified of matching solicitations, no matter what, you're going to see the same thing. If you are a optional paid, you will have this advanced search. You can set up different save searches, one for CDOT, one for Colorado Springs, one for Loveland, the Denver area, whatever you want. If you are registered for free, you will see something slightly different. So you won't see this. You'll see something that looks more like this, which is a list of agencies. And you will click on that specific agency. I'm just going to take this Academy School District right now as an example, and you will see exactly kind of what we saw on the outside of the site, except for now when I click on this solicitation, I will be able to download documents. I will be able to respond to the solicitation itself. So just an FYI, depending on the registration type you pick, you may not see this advanced search is what we call it. All right, so I'm going to click on this 30th Street open solicitation right now to show you some different things. The most important thing that I always like to point out is this time left to bid. So it's big, it's green and blue, and it tells you how much time you have left to bid. It's very important you don't wait till the last minute. I think, Deanna and anyone else will tell you that it is definitely leave yourself time, whether you are submitting a bid physically, in the mail, or like this one, placing a bid online. Placing a bid online, what we call electronic bid submission, is really easy. It makes it easy for you, the supplier, that you don't have to print out and get something to the city by 4 p.m. on this date, not a second later, but you still do have to submit it by, let's say 4 p.m., not a second later online. And we all know from a lot of us working from home off and on, or still for the last year and a half, that sometimes we have technology issues. Sometimes your internet goes out or is slow. So it is really important to know when the solicitation is due and to not wait till the last minute to start uploading all of your documents and everything else that's needed for your response if you're planning on responding. Our technical support team, if you have any issues whatsoever with your placing your bid, can walk you through it, but they can't walk you through it in 5 minutes before the bid closes. There's just no guarantee. So 100% take note of this. And if that's the only thing you remember, it's do not wait until the last minute. Give yourself time when responding to a solicitation. The other things you're going to notice on here is, like we said, the place bid. There's also this download button, which allows you to download all of the documents attached to the solicitation in one time. And there's this follow button. That is if you want to be alerted. If I go to this follow, it's going to tell me I want to follow and receive any addendum. Now, you can do that, or even if you've been notified already of a solicitation that will be clicked as you are following it, then you can unfollow if you have no need, like I don't want to know what happens with this. You can follow different things even that are outside of your industry. So if you live in the city and you just want to know as a taxpayer, what's the city buying? I can set up a save search and follow other things to just kind of be alerted and to be in the know. And then you can also print everything. We like to be green and we like to keep everything online, but we know sometimes for your records, you need to easily print stuff. So if you press this print button, it will print everything. This is the basic information of the solicitation, the type of solicitation it is, the title, the project number. etc. This has important dates on it. So it has the publication, if there's any question acceptance deadline, if there's a pre-bid meeting right here, it talks about it. Are questions submitted online, yes or no? And then this is important, this is the buyer specifically, right? So this is the buyer that is attached to this solicitation. This is who you would contact with any questions regarding the solicitation itself. Again, also once you've downloaded and read all of the items, there could be other specific instructions, in there. And then here's just a very, very high level overview of the requirements. So, what the participation requirements are as far as DBE or women-owned or minority business. And then is insurance required? Sometimes it will have bonding requirements, so 5% bid bond is required. And then more information about the pre-bidding events. So this is another real key piece here that you're going to want to know is the bid submission type. This will either be electronic bid submission, which means right here, you place your bid online, or it will say physical bid submission. And that means there's no online bid submission. Read the documents and know what that physical means. It could mean it has to be delivered to the city or the county's location by 4 p.m. on this date, or it could mean it needs to be emailed to the city. It's some other way other than placing a bid through the system itself. There's a third option, and that says electronic bid submission or physical bid submission. And that means that buyer is accepting either or. This also talks about the type of pricing. So oftentimes for electronic bid submission, there will be either a lump sum or line item, some other form of pricing. And then the documents that you will be needing to upload. So, mandatory, yes, yes, not mandatory, no. And then any kind of additional bidding information there. So this is just kind of an overview of the solicitation. This is where you say, yeah, you know what? I think it makes sense for me to look more into this. This tab's right over here, so that's what we call the notice. The next tab is that category tab. So this shows you all of the NIGP codes that Colorado Springs has attached to this. So this is, if you see this solicitation and you were not notified of it, or you want to make sure you don't miss any in the future, you can come here and say, oh, you know why? It's because I didn't have excavation services, but I do excavation services, so I need to have that code. And then you can add that code to your profile. This documents and items. So this is, again, if you wanted to download everything, you'd press this button up in the top right up here of the screen. But if you just wanted to download one at a time, or you needed to say you download the Schedule A, but someone else in your team also needed this, and for some reason you misplaced it and you want to send it to them again, you can come and download just one item here. It's just click on it and download. I am not going to download it right now, or else the city would see me and my test account as one of their plan holders. Which brings us to the plan holders list. So this is a list of everybody who has already downloaded one or more of the documents. So you can go through, this gives you an idea if you're a subcontractor, right? So maybe you're like, I don't do all that type of stuff. But after reading the documents, you know what, I do have gravel. I sell gravel. So geez, I know most of these people, but I actually don't know Lobato construction. That would be a really good person to reach out to and try to make a connection with, because they're interested in this information or in this bid, and I supply part of it that they may not. I'm going to reach out and try to be a subcontractor on this. So it's like a networking way. A lot of people, especially in the construction world and other industries too, like to use the plan holders list to be able to do that. This audit tab right here, this just tells anything that's done. So this was originally published on the 18th of June. If there is an upcoming addendum that is published, then that will show up there as well, etc. So that is, everything about a solicitation itself that you will need to know. There are some of our agencies, and Dan, I'm not sure if you all accept questions for some online or not, but there will also be another button here. You do, okay. I just didn't happen to pull one of those up, but that will say, ask a question. And that's if the questions are accepted online through this platform, there will be an ask a question button. And then there will also be a tab here that says online Q&A, and that'll be the questions and answers. All right, so, in addition to that, there are some other reports, matching profile, your saved searches, your bid management, which is really helpful if you're down, if you're responding to a lot of solicitations and you need to run a report for someone, or you need to look up an old solicitation that you may have submitted to someone like a year ago and said, geez, I really loved how we talked about this part of our business, or this that we could do to that response to Colorado Springs, 6 months ago. Let me go find that real quickly. And so this, you can go and you can look for any of your responses that you've bid on in the past. And this qualifications, not many people use this. You can see if any buyers, by clicking on this, if any of the buyers that you're registered to those purchasing groups do, that is used by people for pre-qualifying suppliers. So it's worth a check to see, but not many of our public agencies, because a lot of them, just like Springs, is issuing publicly 150,000 and above solicitations. Oftentimes they don't utilize that. The reporting section is the dashboard, which just gives you a nice overview of your matching bids and number of responses, etc. And then the requested documents is very similar to your bid information, except for those are documents that you've downloaded. So again, if you say, geez, you know what, it seems like, am I losing my mind, but have so many different government buyers been looking for XYZ lately? It seems like that's been in every open solicitation, every RFP that I've looked at. Am I just remembering that, or is that true? You can actually go back and look at all those documents that you've looked through all in one place, or you can type in by date range or other information, and you can go pull those down and see if you were mistaken. So a lot of it's just research for your own sake. And then again, there's this participating agencies. We went over here before, but at any point in time, if you want to go through and see all of the different agencies, I belong to all of our purchasing groups, but if you just wanted to look in the Rocky Mountain e-purchasing system, a lot of the same first row isn't going to change much, all the A's. One thing to note, it is in alphabetical order. So you'll see a lot of C's here that could just be city of, county of, etc. So if you're looking for Denver, for example, it may not be in the D's, it's going to be in the C's. So that's that. And then up here, you'll see a little question mark. If you click on this, this is how to contact our vendor support team. So they are available from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time, Monday through Friday, except for national holidays. And you can call them at any time during that time. If it's after hours, they will get back to you the next day, or you can email, which is again a reason not to wait until the last minute if you do have an issue when you're trying to respond to a solicitation. This little guy right here, if you guys can see it, I might need to make this a little bigger. on my screen here. This little guy right here, if you click on it, all this information pops up. What's the most important thing here is the My Organization. Think of it as my profile is yourself, meaning your username, your password, and my organization is my company. So this is how my company is seen to other suppliers if I am on the plan holders list, or to the buyer themselves when I've downloaded documents or have responded to with a bid or have asked a question or anything like that. This is also the information that shows up in a vendor search, which is if someone is a buyer like Tiana or anyone else within the team is going through and looking for those quick quotes or something, and looking by those category codes, and they may see your name and say, okay, I'm going to call them for a quote. So all this information you filled out upon registration, but if you ever want to come back and change anything, whether you've switched offices, or you were working from home when you first registered and now you're back in the office, so you need to switch your phone number, or you just guessed on some of that information up front and now you want to change it to what it really is. So you just press this little pencil here and you can go in and edit any of this information or add anything that may be missing, right? And then the most important thing is just to press save. So once you have made any changes whatsoever, you definitely want to press save wherever it is. This is, again, the same type of information that we looked at before. The only difference is I tell people, like, unless you just happen to have it on you, don't worry about like uploading your W-9 upon registration, which you can, wait until you're here. But it is very helpful if you do have it attached to your profile. Other suppliers cannot see this information. It's only buying organizations that can. Many of them will ask for it anyways within the that and other information within your response. But for those quick quotes and other buyers finding and looking at your vendor profile, it makes it easier for them. And just whatever you do, don't forget to press save. This is also where you're going to go and look for and add to the categories. So this will show you all of the categories that you picked, that you have upon registration. You can delete any of those. So if I wanted to say, okay, I'm going to delete that one because I actually don't deal in that anymore, and I don't know why I picked that because I don't. Pavement was something I believe that we looked for. So if you type in a keyword, everything that has that word in it will show up in yellow. So then you can look through and you can say, do I do this? Well, no, I don't actually, have pavement tape. I more, provide the pavement gravel. So I'm going to say, no, I don't want that one. Non-asphaltic fabric pavement. Yes, I actually just got into that. And then you can click that. And again, once you click the ones that you actually do business in, you sell that product or the service, then again, make certain that you press save. That's the second most important thing. This is optional down here. So this is, you can put in your logo, company description, other information, one-pagers, different things like that. Any references that you want about your organization, but that is optional. It costs $49 for the year to add this information down here. Everything else up here, it's included in no matter what registration type that you got, and it's available and viewable by all participating buyers. If at any point in time you do want to add other contacts to your account, you can come in here and just add a contact here, just fill in their information. They get an email and are prompted to log in and set up their password. And then if you wanted to add or see other purchasing groups, so this is where you can come and you can see what purchasing groups you belong to. So if you registered for the Rocky Mountain e-purchasing system, but also registered for, California, like we talked about, or Florida, anything else, you can come in here and see. And this is where you would modify that purchasing specific form. That was just for Rocky Mountain specifically. So I'm going to get to that one to show you real quickly. If I press next, that is. Come on. Sorry, I got all these things in the way and I'm just making sure that it's actually going here. Here we go. All right, for some reason it's not liking that, so I'll just show you here on Empire State, which is our New York version. It would be the same thing for whatever you were signed up for, but you see how there's slightly different questions here that this group is asking. So if you press no and no, and you found out later, well, actually, yes, I am a federal DBE, then you would press yes and press and save. But I'm just going to cancel that because I am not. And that is basically all of the information that we were going to talk about on the actual line. So now I am going to bring you back to the PowerPoint, if I can get out of here for a second. And talk to you a tiny bit more about placing a bid and downloading documents. We talked a little bit about where to find it online. So if you're on a solicitation, the placing a bid and the downloading documents buttons are right here. Here's a screenshot of that ask a question. So that would be if this is, they're accepting questions online, that's how that would look. And then you see that Q&A right over here. If you're placing an online bid, so that placing a bid online, that little gavel that shows up there, you have already read all the documents, you've already worked on your response, and you know what you're going to have to submit. Each buying organization and each, if it's an IFB, if it's an RFP, if it's all different types of solicitations are going to be done slightly different. The most important thing is that you've read the documents and that you know what to expect and that you follow what this says. You follow, it'll say documents and pricing, or it may say documents line item and not have pricing. So if you follow this when you're submitting, you will know what you're going to have to upload. There are, like the solicitation we were looking at, when I go to that one to place a bid, it's actually going to have a box that's going to give me the name of the title of the document that I need to upload right there, and the name of the title of the document that I need to upload. And so everything's going to be slightly different, but the most important thing to know is that you follow whatever it says here. So this one does want documents and pricing. Some may be line items, and you'll just have 10 lines here that say I need 7 chairs and 3,000 batteries and this and that, and you just simply put in the manufacturer from a drop-down list and the price. It really just depends on the actual solicitation itself. The most important thing, other than knowing what you're going to be uploading to the solicitation, is this bid not submitted right here. So you see that it's red and it says bid not submitted, and then there's a time left to bid. I'm not saying you have to wait, be 31 days in advance, but hopefully you're more than a couple hours before there's time left to bid that you're starting this process. Because again, if something happens, if you get a pop-up that says, oops, you haven't read an addendum. Believe it or not, when you come to this is one of the reasons that we have you log in. We tell you if you haven't read any of the documentations or the documents attached, or if you have an unread addenda, right? Which means that something has been missed. So we tell you that upon this process, before that bid can be submitted, you need to know that to give yourself time to go back and look at that missed addenda to see if it changed anything in your response. You know, so they were looking for only black pens and pencils before, and now they're accepting any color. Is that going to change your pricing? Things like that. So until this says you press continue and next, until this changes from bid not submitted in red to bid submitted in green or blue, depending on your screen, it shows up kind of differently, then your response has not been submitted. You still will have time to go back and make edits and changes to that before the closing deadline. But just, again, do not give yourself just a tiny bit of time. Give yourself enough time if you have those changes. On the agency side of things, so on the buyer side of things, it works just like a normal sealed response would. They don't know who or what the responses are until after the closing date. And many will have an open bid online, like live watch, not a party, I want to say a watch party, but they'll do a bid opening meeting online in which they'll actually press a button, which then unlocks those solicitations responses. So they'll actually see who submitted bids, how many responses they got, etc. So I am also going to be sharing a FAQ on placing a bid online in the, I'll do that momentarily here, but just a couple of just other key reminders that we've already said, but I can't say it enough. Read all addendums and documents. The worst thing you want to do is have a couple hours left and you've spent all this time working on a response and you find out that you have an unread addendum. So, you know, that's not fun. So don't do that, but our system will alert you if that is the case, and then go read it quickly and hope that it didn't change anything. And then for security reasons, it is also going to ask you to re-enter your password upon placing a bid. If you do have multiple users on your account, if you remember, I went and showed you how to add people, you are able to make the determination on if that person is able to submit a bid or not. So submit a response to an open solicitation or not. So just as an FYI, only people who have that capability as part of their designation of user will be able to do so. And that person has to be the one that is not only logged in to upload, but also re-enters their password. And then just remember, once the bid is placed, this turns to green or blue and says bid submitted. And that is pretty much the end. I know I did a lot of talking and I apologize. I'm checking the time. I think I'm right on target for time, but my email address is kcullen@bidnet.com. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out to me, or our vendor support team, as I mentioned, is there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And their email and phone number is there as well.
Thanks, Kim. Somebody did have a question. He said, do we have to have a business in place to view jobs, or can we still view?
You can still view. You know, I wouldn't suggest responding to anything, but yeah, if you want to do any kind of research, like you're going to be setting up your business and you want to see what's out there, you want to see what potentially is your market within your area to do business with government, or network with other contractors, or etc. Yes, you don't have to be a registered business per se.
Is Bidnet the main website to see state, city, and government jobs, or are there other outlets?
There are other outlets. Bidnet Direct is one of a few that has actual buyers logging in and actually publishing the solicitations themselves. We are not the only one, but we're one of the largest with over 1,500. But yes, there are others like us. We try. In Colorado, I would say we are the largest and the one-stop shop to go for your government bid opportunities. just because we have over 300 state and local agencies logging in daily and posting all their solicitations there.
I want to add to that, for the city, we post everything over 150,000 onto Bidnet. So definitely check our city website for those informal solicitations for information on that.
Awesome. I don't see any other questions, but if you have put all the information here, if people have additional questions or they want clarification, they can just reach out to that information. And then I know you've got some really great links that you sent me, Kim, so I'll be sure to send everybody who participated in a follow-up email with those links as well as the slides, so they can see that as well with the recordings. And if there's no other questions or anything else you want to add, Kim or Deanna, before we wrap up?
No, we're good. Thank you very much to everybody for being here, and we look forward. If you have any questions with registration, it looks like Julian is asking a question too. So
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that or not, or if it's just me.
I think it's just delayed on my end.
Yep, I can.
Perfect.
I can see that. Also, I just posted that link to all of our active solicitations. For Julian, thank you for your question. We promote competition. We want the best value for the city. And that includes marketing to our local businesses as well as any company or organization within the US that's relevant to the project that we have listed. Again, all of our solicitations over 150 are online, which anyone can have access to who's registered in Bidnet. And we review those documents, and it's really just a matter of ensuring that your response is complete and has all of the mandated documents that we're asking for, and taking a look at what we've outlined in that evaluation criteria. Because when we are selecting a vendor for award, we're making it off of that identified criteria. And all of that is public information. If you have any other questions around that, we're happy to answer those. And again, feel free to reach out to us directly at that contracting email. And you can also contact me directly, and I'll just post my contact information here really quickly for you. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you, Kim and Deanna, for being here and giving us a wealth of knowledge and all that information. So, and like I mentioned before, we'll be sending the recording and the slides, so we have those. If you have any questions or you need free consulting or practical training or business resources, you can contact the SBDC. Just head to pikespeaksbdc.org. Thanks again, you two. I hope you have a wonderful day, and appreciate all the information.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you. Bye.